Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. I want you to think of me as just a thoughtful friend sitting right across from you. Imagine we're grabbing a cup of coffee and having a real, honest conversation about those things we all feel, but, well, rarely know exactly how to say out loud. Today, we're going to explore the quiet, obscure corners of human emotion. We're going to try and give a vocabulary to those deeply specific, incredibly complex feelings that just wash over us in our daily lives. You know, whether we're navigating a ridiculously busy airport or just sitting at home in perfect solitude.
So let me ask you this. Have you ever felt a really specific kind of sadness, or maybe a strange, heavy wave of nostalgia, but had absolutely zero idea how to explain it to someone else? You try to find the words, and you just end up awkwardly saying, I don't know, man, it's just this weird feeling. Well, listen, you are definitely not alone. Our brains process incredibly complex realities every single day, and frankly, standard words like sad, happy, or lonely just don't cut it. So today, let's go on a shared journey of discovery to finally give names to these beautifully complicated experiences. Section 1. Our hidden ties to others. This is all about those invisible threads connecting us to strangers and loved ones alike.
To start exploring these connections, I want you to picture this highly relatable scenario. You're sitting in just brutal afternoon traffic. We've all been there, right? You happen to glance over at the car next to you, and there's a random stranger just tapping their fingers on the steering wheel, totally lost in their own world. And then suddenly, it hits you like a ton of bricks. That person has an entire life. They have a childhood, they have deep fears, maybe an argument they've been replaying in their head all week. People who fiercely love them. They have a story that is literally just as vivid and complicated as your own. And the craziest part of the whole shebang? The light's gonna turn green, you'll drive away, and you will never, ever know a single thing about their story.
That massive, almost ungraspable feeling actually has a name. It's called sonder. It usually hits us when we're traveling, in those crowded train stations or busy streets or airport terminals. Your brain is literally trying to grasp the mind-bending fact that every single face in that massive crowd is a whole, complete person. And then, well, it kind of just gives up because the sheer scale of it is simply too much to process. It's neither a good nor a bad feeling, honestly. It's just incredibly, overwhelmingly big.
Now, let's break down an emotion you have absolutely felt, but you probably just called it a crush. A psychologist named Dorothy Tenov actually studied this way back in the 1970s and named it limerence. Step 1 is involuntary obsession. You aren't consciously choosing to think about this person, your brain is just running their face on a loop. Step 2, your brain is desperately searching for reciprocation. I mean, every single text reply time is completely overanalyzed. And step 3? Well, step 3 is the kicker. What's really fascinating about this concept is that the moment the uncertainty disappears, the exact second you know for sure if they like you back or not, the feeling usually just vanishes. It tells us that limerence isn't really about love at all. It's just an involuntary reflex, desperately seeking certainty.
Okay, let's look at this wonderfully precise German word. Now, don't worry too much about the exact pronunciation, just think of it by its literal translation. Wall builder sadness. Mauerbauer Traurigkeit happens when a friend genuinely reaches out to hang out. They've done absolutely nothing wrong, but something inside you just reflexively closes. You make up a quick excuse, you push them away, and then you just sit at home alone in your perfect solitude. And yet you feel absolutely miserable. It's a very specific, self-inflicted loneliness that is incredibly hard to complain about because, well, you built the wall yourself. And that self-imposed isolation is a perfect bridge for us into our next environment.
Section 2. The mood of empty spaces. Let's see how the physical environments around us absorb and reflect our emotions.
Imagine you are at a party. The conversation is flowing, you're smiling, and technically, absolutely nothing is wrong. But underneath it all, you feel like a puzzle piece that has been jammed into a picture where it simply doesn't belong. This subtle but incredibly persistent feeling of being just slightly off frequency with the room is called monachopsis. It's not just shyness, right? Because it doesn't magically go away when you warm up to people. It's more like this quiet, lingering suspicion that somewhere out there is a room you could walk into where fitting in would be completely 100% effortless, but this just isn't it. Have you ever walked into a school during summer break, or maybe a sprawling corporate office late on a Sunday night? These places were designed entirely for crowds. The chairs, the layouts, they all basically demand human presence. So when the people are gone, that eerie, almost ghost town feeling you get is called canopsia. It's like the emptiness literally has a texture to it. Because you know exactly what the space is supposed to look and sound like, the sheer absence of life feels super heavy and palpable. You can even feel this looking at an old, abandoned social media profile.
The entire structure is sitting right there, but the life has completely departed. Now, think of the exact opposite feeling of space. Imagine a massive, loud, heavy rainstorm outside. It is absolutely miserable out there, but you are inside, warm and dry. This brilliantly illustrates chrysalism, named after the chrysalis or the cocoon of a butterfly. The noise of the storm actually makes the warmth inside feel better, right? The harsh weather creates this physical barrier from the demands of the outside world, giving you this deep, comforting permission to just stay put, to do absolutely nothing, and to feel completely, undeniably safe while doing it.
Now, imagine leaving that rainy day behind and walking into a cozy, dimly lit used bookshop. That specific atmosphere, you know the one, the smell of old paper, the hushed quietness, that's called velature. But it's not just the smell, is it? It's the profound realization that every single object in that room has had a past life. Some book has an old grocery receipt left as a bookmark. Another has a passionate, jagged underline drawn by a total stranger decades ago. It's a really soft, beautiful kind of melancholy. It's a gentle reminder that time passes, things change hands, and the world is just full of these tiny, hidden histories patiently waiting for someone new to discover them.
Section 3. Longing for impossible pasts. This is all about the incredibly tricky, melancholic nature of time itself.
Let's compare two really fascinating feelings side by side. We all know basic nostalgia, right? But hyreth, which is a gorgeous Welsh word with no direct English translation, is a very specific kind of grief. It's when you long for a home or a time that is totally unequivocally gone. Think of a childhood summer that felt like it would last forever, or the magical early days of a new relationship. Even if you go back to the exact same physical location today, the feeling you are missing just doesn't exist there anymore. Contrast that with anemia. Now this is wild. It's nostalgia for a time you never actually lived through. It's like watching a grainy home video from the 1970s and feeling this desperate ache to go back there, even if you were literally born in 1995.
So why in the world does anemia happen? Well, when we look at old media, we are really only seeing the highlight reel. People back then didn't waste expensive film on boring, mundane Tuesdays. The surviving footage is entirely full of birthday parties and celebrations, all filtered through this warm, washed-out aesthetic. We aren't actually missing the historical reality of the 1970s. What we're doing is projecting our modern-day exhaustion and our really deep longing for a simpler life straight onto an aesthetic that just looks incredibly cozy and safe.
Section 4. The scale of one life. Let's zoom all the way out from our daily routines into the final and honestly most existential bucket of human emotion.
8 billion. That is roughly the number of people walking on this planet right now. Have you ever been dead tired, stared up at the vast night sky, and suddenly felt the crushing weight of just how incredibly small you are? You are one person in one tiny, fleeting window of time in a history spanning billions of years. And yet, somehow, the awkward thing you said at a work meeting last Thursday is taking up like 90% of your brain's processing power. That sudden dizzying awareness of the staggering difference in scale between your daily little worries and the vastness of the universe, that's called oculism.
So the absolutely crucial point here is how we actually react to oculism. It usually swings wildly between two extremes. It can feel incredibly freeing, like this giant cosmic release valve. If we are really that small, then hey, our mistakes don't matter all that much in the grand scheme, and the pressure is totally off. But on the flip side, it can be deeply, deeply unsettling. It can feel like the floor of meaning is briefly just disappearing right out from under your feet. And depending on the day, honestly, you might feel both at exactly the same time.
Which brings us to onism. You are only going to live one life. Every single choice you make is implicitly a choice not to make 100 others. The city you choose to live in means there are dozens you won't ever call home. The life you build is built at the direct cost of every other version you could have possibly had. Onism is the profound, aching frustration of being stuck in just one physical body and one single timeline. And think about how the internet amplifies this. Every travel vlog, every documentary, every perfectly curated social media post is just a click away, serving as this undeniable evidence of all the beautiful alternative lives you are currently not living. It can be a seriously heavy thing to sit with.
As we wrap up, I want to leave you with this final, incredibly important question to ponder. What alternative versions of your life are you quietly grieving right now? And more importantly, what hidden, totally unique beauty exists in the single, unrepeatable path you did choose? It is absolutely okay to feel the melancholy of the unlived lives, but please, don't forget the absolute magic of the one you are actually walking. Thank you so much for exploring these beautiful, unnamed corners of the human heart with me today. I really hope you found a word that makes you feel just a little bit more understood. Keep observing, keep reflecting, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.